Joining us now, running for Congress. Got a spring in his step. Polls going his way. He's going to win. Nick Freitas, 7th District, Republican, going against one-term Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, one of the strongest candidates in a Trump district in America, but no ground game, no people knocking on doors. She can spend all the money she wants. She's going to lose. Nick, great to have you with us.
Great to be on, John. Thank you.
So, you know how many doors the Trump campaign has knocked on in the 7th District? We've knocked on 70,000 doors. You know how many Abigail Spanberger has? Zero.
Zero, I believe.
Zero. Yeah. And that's just our campaign, not the Nick Freitas campaign, which is also knocking on doors every day. Plus Americans for Prosperity, plus outside groups. So we got a great ground game, Nick. What do you think?
Oh, no, I think we do. And I can't tell you how many times this has been studied. Door knocking is absolutely essential in order to be able to inform voters, to be able to engage with voters. That's why we've invested heavily in it. That's why other campaigns, the Trump campaign has invested heavily in it. And it's going to be one of the main reasons why both the president wins and why we win on November 3rd.
You think we have a shot to the Trump campaign has an outside shot to win Virginia?
Yeah, I do. I think when you look at what Democrats have done in the General Assembly, I think when you look at what this governor has done with respect to lockdowns, I think Virginians are sick of it. When the Democrats took over the General Assembly for the first time in 26 years, they had the General Assembly, the governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general. They ran as far to the left as possible. They hurt business. They assaulted Second Amendment rights. I think Virginians are sick of it.
We look at the polling that's out now. We're down by 3. We know the ground game we have, minimum 1.5, could be 2.5. So we're like tied, as far as I'm concerned. But you look at the crosstabs that we have, and a lot of this is dialing back to this General Assembly session and defunding the police and some of the crazy things that your colleagues in the House are doing. I think if we win Virginia, and I think we got a shot, it's going to get traced back to Eileen Filler-Corn and Caucus of the Corn, and they're going to get blamed for the biggest debacle ever. What say you?
Oh, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is about running against what the Democrats have done. It's also about talking about what the president has done. I mean, if we just sit back for a second, turn off MSNBC and look at what the president has accomplished in 3.5 years, whether it was tax cuts, regulatory reform, businesses coming back to the United States, criminal justice reform. He passed the strongest criminal justice reform in a generation. And the reason why the Democrats don't give him credit for it is because his criminal justice reform was not anti-law enforcement. And then you look at things like peace deals in the Middle East. I mean, this is the first time in decades we've had peace deals in the Middle East as a result of this president's efforts. And it wasn't by going around all over the world apologizing to the United States. It was about demonstrating strong leadership. In the meantime, Democrats can't even keep peace in their own cities. So I think the contrast is pretty significant, and I think people are watching.
All I've seen is Spanberger ads. I've seen, you go to RVA, obviously in the 7th, they're all over the TV. But I haven't seen her campaign. I haven't seen her make a statement. Am I missing it? Did they take me off their press release list, their engagement list? Are they having rallies? Or is she doing press conferences? Tell me what I'm missing here.
Well, one of the things she's doing is she's using her congressional budget to, quote, inform constituents, when in reality she's using them more like campaign ads. But then on top of that, she doesn't want to engage in debates. She finally agreed to a forum, which is not a debate, but not until October 20th. We've been desperately trying to get her on a debate stage so we can actually discuss ideas. But right now she's just hiding behind millions of dollars in attack ads. And you would think if she believed in those attack ads, she'd be willing to get on a debate stage and let us each talk about our ideas and how we plan to legislate. But that doesn't seem to be on her agenda.
Are you having any debates? I mean, give us a heads up here. With this 35 days, what's the debate format?
The only thing we have is a forum that's going to be held on October 20th. There's some other things that she tried to pass off as debates when in reality they were closed forums that weren't even going to be broadcast to the people of the 7th District. They were for private organizations. We've been trying to get as many debates as possible so that people in the 7th District have a chance to actually watch them and hear where the candidates stand on issues. But again, she's not interested in that. So we got one forum on October 20th so far. We'll try to see what else we can get. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to do what we've been doing, which is holding a Facebook Live town hall every Tuesday at 8, because we think people have a right to come on, ask me questions. And those, by the way, when we do those are all on our Facebook page. You can go back for months and see exactly what I've said on every single issue, the questions that I've answered. You know, when she does something, she'll do a teletown hall, which then doesn't get published, so people don't know what she was asked or who participated. She screens the questions. You know, we put everything out there because we don't have anything to hide. We're proud of where we stand on issues, and we want to make sure that people know about it so they can be informed when they go in to vote.
Nick, why has Spanberger not agreed to a series of debates? She's a pretty good debater. She's an excellent speaker. Why is she hiding?
I mean, would you want to have to defend their platform?
No.
I mean, she came out and she campaigned as a hardcore moderate. She was going to stand up against her own party. And then she voted with Pelosi 92% of the time. She votes against the president more than just about anybody. I mean, when AOC and Bernie Sanders vote along with the president more than you do, you can call yourself a lot of things, but I don't think you can legitimately call yourself a moderate. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think she wants to get out there and talk about cities burning. I don't think she wants to get out there and talk about $4 trillion tax increases that she wants to pass. She doesn't want to talk about a Green New Deal. So she just wants to hide behind millions of dollars in ads talking about how bipartisan she is, when in reality she's voted for things like H.R. 1, which would guarantee her campaign $5 million. She talks about campaign finance reform. I still think candidates should have to at least go out and ask people to donate to their campaign. She wants it to be mandated by the government. And again, who wants to stand up on a debate stage and have to defend those things?
I think that's the issue. I mean, she ran saying one thing against Dave, and now she's done another, and that becomes a very hard and indefensible position. But she's a very. I followed her campaign in detail in 2018. She's a very good campaigner. She's great on her feet. She's an adept debater. But you're right. The reason that she's avoiding the media, I mean, she hasn't held a press. She hasn't done anything. I mean, I don't even get anything from her campaign as part of the media. I don't get anything. I don't know where she is, if she's in the district, what she's doing. I don't know how you win that way. I mean, she's campaigning like she's been there 9 terms, and it's a district that's plus 5D. I mean, Trump is going to carry the 7th by 4. That's what I predict. He's going to carry it by 4. That's what he's ahead now. That means that she's got to overcome a 4% deficit. So you got to go in the voting booth or do mail or whatever you're doing, and you got to vote for Trump. You're going to vote, and so 4% of the people that vote for Trump to get reelected in the 7th have to then turn around and vote for the person that voted to impeach the guy you're voting for. I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. I don't know how she wins.
Oh, no, I don't think she's going to win. But the way that what she's betting on is, look, the Democrat Campaign Congressional Committee has dropped another $1 million into her race. They moved up all their attack ads on me by 2 weeks. If you look at pretty much her entire strategy, it's lie to people about who I am and what I actually believe, lie about my voting record and what I actually stand for, in the hopes that people will not have any sort of alternative, in the hopes that they won't have a debate that they can refer to find out what I actually believe. But again, we've done a great job on social media. We're out there constantly talking to people, knocking on doors. And so people aren't buying it. And we've seen this. Her attack ads are actually backfiring in a lot of ways because people have had a chance to hear from me directly. Mm-hmm. And when they see the attack ad, they realize that they recognize it exactly for what it is. It's essentially trying to besmirch and slander me in the hopes that people won't know any better when they go into the voting booth, and that's just not going to happen.
John Fredericks Radio Network, we're with Nick Freitas, House of Delegates member from Culpeper. Nick is running for Congress, 7th District, against incumbent Democrat Abigail Spanberger. That'll be decided on November 3rd or sometime thereafter when the mail-in ballots come in. What is your concern about mail ballot-in fraud in the 7th?
Well, we've already seen problems with the mail-in balloting. And again, there's a big difference between absentee and mail-in. Absentee, the voter requests the ballot, they solicit it, we can confirm it. When we talk about mail-in balloting, that's just registrars, or now private organizations just mailing out ballots to people based off of a list that the registrar has. And it's important to understand that registrar lists tend to be anywhere from 15 to 20% inaccurate. That's not because the registrars have done a bad job. It's because people move and they don't inform their registrar as a result. So this idea of ballot harvesting and everything else that the Democrats are trying to push, that's another thing that H.R. 1 tried to do that she's bragging about, is that it essentially was a federal takeover of election law where they were trying to get rid of any sort of photo ID requirements. They were trying to push mail-in balloting. And again, I think we all understand that that sort of approach is ripe for fraud. And so now not only do we have to worry about making sure that all legal votes are counted, but we also have to make sure that Democrats don't engage in voter suppression by allowing illegal ballots to be cast and canceling out the votes of American citizens.
You got him with Nick Freitas, running for Congress, Republican 7th District. Nick, let's get to the Newport News rally Friday night. About 14,000 people showed up. They expected 3,500 to 5,000. You made a speech, very well received. What did you think of Friday night?
Oh, I think it was excellent. It was inspiring. It was very encouraging. Like you said, it's not as if people had weeks to plan for this rally. It was announced fairly quickly, and you saw the number of people that were willing to show up. And again, it's past capacity. We had people all the way at the back of an airport hangar that could probably barely see the stage, but they wanted to be there to listen. They wanted to be there to see the president and the vice president. And so I think it's very encouraging. Again, Joe Biden could give a month's notice that he was doing something like that and not even hope to get even half the crowd that the president did. So I thought it was great.
Tell us about the debate Tuesday night, your reaction. I know you were part of the watch party going on at the Atlas.
Yeah, no, it was, we did our pregame on the debate where we did our typical town hall, answered questions, talked a little bit about what we expected. And, and unfortunately, I think Chris Wallace did a horrible job moderating that debate. And you saw Joe Biden kind of all over the place. One minute he likes the Green New Deal. The next minute he's opposed to the Green New Deal. And it just once again shows that they don't really want to run on their record. They're terrified of their own extreme elements within the Democratic Party that are really driving the agenda and the narrative at this point. The one thing I would really like to see more of in the future is, look, we can't trust on moderators to actually ask good questions about what the president has accomplished in his first 3.5 years as president. So I think the president's going to have to take opportunities to really push through, bad questions. Look, Personally, I don't care what the president paid in taxes in 2016. I care a lot about the fact that Joe Biden wants to raise all of our taxes by $4 trillion. And I think when the president has an opportunity, I think he just needs to hammer home on all the accomplishments, because they have been significant accomplishments in the last 3.5 years. Just like I mentioned earlier, tax reform, regulatory reform, criminal justice reform, peace in the Middle East. Moderator's never going to ask a fair question to allow him to actually explain those things or talk about them. MSNBC, CNN's never going to report it. And so I think I want to see the president use every single opportunity to really talk about his accomplishments.
Well, you know what's bizarre? The tax code was written by Joe Biden over 47 years. So if he's got a problem with it, he could have changed it. They didn't do it. Also, a lot of the things that were on Trump's alleged tax return that got leaked to the New York Times was tax code changes that were written in by the Obama administration to spur business investment after the crash. So the tax code, Nick, is written to inspire risk and to compel businesses to invest money, open things up, and make things to create jobs. That's why you can carry the losses forward. That's why the tax code is written. If the taxes that got leaked to the Times are true, it appears that's exactly what Trump did. He built things. He invested in things. He took risk. He created jobs. That's why they were able to carry over the losses. When you start something, average company loses money for 3 to 5 and beyond. So you carry the losses over. So he did exactly what the code was written to do, and now he's getting skewered over it. This has got to be one of the most asinine things I've ever seen in my lifetime, because part of that code was proposed and put in law by the Obama administration to cultivate and inspire job creation investment after the 2009 crash. That's how stupid it is.
If you're looking for intellectual honesty from Joe Biden right now, I got bad news for you. You're not going to find it. And if you look at the way, and let's face it, Joe Biden has been in politics for 47 years now, so he makes his money off of tax dollars. And then when he left politics, he made it off of book deals and speaking engagements. It's not like he was out there creating jobs. He doesn't have any concept of the risk involved. He doesn't understand that most businesses are not profitable for several years when they start off. And when you start new ventures, it's the same thing, that it takes time to actually build up that base, that consumer base. It takes time to get all those jobs in place as a result. And so this idea that they're going to excoriate the president when he's actually been out there working in the market economy as opposed to just living off of tax dollars is absurd. absurd. But again, that's how they play. And you look at their own tax returns. They use whatever loopholes they possibly can. And then they go back and they excoriate anybody else that's doing it. But again, Joe Biden used those tax policy in order to benefit himself. President Trump was actually out there creating jobs in the economy.
John Fredericks Radio Network. Tell me about the final 35 days of your campaign.
So we're going to continue to work very hard with respect to our door knocking efforts. We've got some more TV ads going up to confront a lot of the slander that's coming out from the Democrats and attack ads on us. We're going to continue to do our town halls all the way through Election Day. We also put out an entire podcast laying out specifics on where I stand on every single issue, from healthcare, COVID, foreign policy, taxes, regulations. It's called Making the Argument with Nick Freitas. You can find it on our website at nick4va.com. So we're just going to continue to execute our strategy because it's working, and then it's just a question of being able to do that solidly all through November 3rd, and we're very confident we're going to be able to do so. And hopefully, Abigail will stop hiding and actually get on a debate stage. Not a forum, get on a debate stage. Or if the only thing she'll agree to is a forum, fine. Can we do a few more so people have an opportunity to hear from both candidates? So far, her answer to that has been no. Maybe she'll change her mind with enough pressure.
Has your campaign actually challenged her for debates, for several debates?
We challenged her to 5 debates back in August. And one of the reasons why we did that is because we wanted to get some feedback from her. We never expected her to agree to 5 debates. But we even offered things. She keeps attacking me on healthcare. We said, okay, great. Let's have a debate exclusively on healthcare. We can have one dedicated to just that issue so that people can hear where we stand on it instead of having everything filtered through negative attack ads. She refused to do it, and she's going to continue to refuse to do it. But we challenged it in August because we realized that when early voting starts, people are now casting ballots without ever having a chance to hear from both candidates on a debate stage. And she stonewalled us for weeks. Then she put out a bogus press release saying she'd agreed to 5 debates. When you actually look at what she agreed to, there was not a single debate in there. Only one of them was actually going to be broadcast. One of the ones that she said she agreed to had already been canceled after she put out her press release. So, no, this is a part of her campaign strategy is to not get on a debate stage.
Well, I don't think it's going to be successful. Elaine Luria is doing the same thing in the 2nd District. They're just pouring millions of dollars, really is the answer here. They're pouring millions of dollars into negative attack ads against both yourself and Scott Taylor, and eventually it becomes overkill. I mean, you see them over and over and over, and it's like, yeah, whatever. What are you going to do? And their negatives are high because they haven't gotten anything done, and that's why they don't want to debate, because you nailed it. Abigail Spanberger can't defend her record. She doesn't want to talk about the Green New Deal. She doesn't want to talk about Antifa, cities burning down, Richmond destroyed. She doesn't want to talk about any of this stuff. She doesn't want to talk about all her voting with Pelosi and AOC. She can't talk about that. So all they can do is hide behind negative ads. They're gonna lose. Nick, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John.